You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
You will hear a man calling a hotel to book a room for a short stay. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Good afternoon, Hilltop Hotel. How may I assist you today?
Hi, I'd like to book a room for next weekend, please.
Certainly. May I have your name, please?
Yes, it's Michael Jenkins. That's Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. What date will you be checking in?
On Friday, the 18th of August, and I'll be staying for 3 nights.
Great. And will it be just you, or will someone else be staying with you?
I'll be staying with my wife, so we'll need a double room, not a single.
Of course. We have several double rooms available. Would you like a room with a garden view or a sea view? The sea view is a bit more expensive.
The sea view sounds lovely. But we'll go with the garden view to keep the cost down.
No problem. The rate for a double room with a garden view is $95 per night.
Now, listen carefully and answer the remaining questions.
And just to let you know, we're currently running a promotion on spa treatments for guests staying more than 5 nights. Would you be interested?
That sounds great, but we'll only be there for 3 nights, so I guess we don't qualify.
Right. Back to your booking. Breakfast is not included but can be added for $10 per person per day.
No thanks, we'll have breakfast elsewhere.
All right. May I take a contact number to complete the booking?
Sure, it's 078 94621
Thank you. And how will you be paying for the room? Credit card or debit?
I'll pay by credit card, but I'll give the card details when we arrive.
That's fine. I'll just need your email address to send the confirmation.
It's m.jenkins87@gmail.com.
Perfect. One last thing, would you need parking space? We have limited availability.
Yes, actually. 1 parking spot would be helpful.
Noted. You're all set, Mr. Jenkins. We look forward to welcoming you on the 18th.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
You have half a minute to check your answer. You will now hear a talk by a librarian about new library services and resources. Listen carefully and answer question 11 to 13. You will have some time to look into the questions. Good morning everyone, and thank you for attending this short session. I'm Ms. Allen, the Senior Librarian here at Westford Community Library. I'd like to tell you about some new services and resources we've recently introduced to make the library more useful for all of you. First, let's talk about our extended opening hours. We used to close at 6 p.m. on weekdays, but now we remain open until 9 p.m. from Monday to Friday. This is especially helpful for students and working adults. We've also added a new section dedicated to local history. You'll find rare documents, photographs, and even digitized interviews with longtime residents. This section has been placed on the second floor, right next to the genealogy resources. Now, about our technology upgrades. We've replaced all public-use computers with brand new ones, and we now offer free high-speed Wi-Fi throughout the building. To print, scan, or photocopy, you'll need a library card with a valid balance. Now listen and complete the question 14 to 20. By the way, we recently held a Staff Appreciation Day, and many of you may have noticed the decorations last week. It really boosted morale. Now, one of the most exciting updates is the introduction of self-service checkout kiosks. These are easy to use, you just scan your books and your card, and you're good to go. Of course, if you prefer interacting with staff, that option is still available. We've also expanded our digital collection. You can now access over 5,000 ebooks and audiobooks through our online portal. Simply log in using your library membership number. A common question we get is about reserving study rooms. These can now be booked online up to 2 weeks in advance. They're especially popular during exam season, so we suggest you book early. And for those of you with children, we now have weekly storytelling sessions every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. in the children's area. No sign-up is needed, just show up and enjoy. Lastly, don't miss our monthly workshops on topics like digital literacy, creative writing, and job searching. This month, we'll host a session on resume building, which will take place on the last Wednesday at 6 p.m. You can sign up on our website. That's all from me for now. If you have any questions, feel free to talk to one of our staff members at the front desk. Thanks and enjoy using the new facilities. You have half a minute to check your answer.
You will hear two students, Lena and Josh, discussing how to structure their joint history essay on post-war reconstruction in Europe. First, you will have some time to look the question.
Josh, we finally got the green light to write about post-war reconstruction in Europe, right?
Yes, I'm glad we agreed on that topic. Originally, I thought we'd go with something like World War I diplomacy, but this feels more focused and manageable.
Definitely. So, we need to sort out how to structure the essay. I think we should start with an introduction that outlines the key challenges Europe faced after 1945.
Makes sense. Economic devastation, displacement, damaged infrastructure, those kinds of things.
Exactly. Then maybe we can dedicate the next section to the Marshall Plan, since that was crucial.
Yes, and we should emphasize that its impact varied across regions, not just assume it worked the same everywhere.
Right. Now, what about the political developments? Should we put that before or after the Marshall Plan?
I was thinking after. But now that I reconsider, discussing political developments first would provide more context for why the Marshall Plan was needed.
Good point. Okay, so structure-wise, introduction, then political context, then economic recovery.
That's a solid flow. For the conclusion, I suggest we briefly mention the Cold War tensions that emerged as a consequence of some policies.
Yes, but let's avoid drifting too far into Cold War history. Just a brief mention.
For the research, I'll cover primary documents from the US State Department. I already found a digital archive with telegrams and letters.
Perfect. I'll look at European parliamentary records, particularly debates on foreign aid. They're translated and accessible.
Should we use any interviews or documentaries?
I watched a BBC documentary on the reconstruction of Berlin, but it was mostly anecdotal. Let's stick to academic and governmental sources. They're more reliable.
Now complete the table as you hear the audio.
Yes, I do agree. Now, for referencing style, we were told to use APA, right?
Actually, Dr. Morgan prefers Chicago style for history papers.
Oh, that's right. Good thing you remembered. I nearly formatted our last essay in Harvard.
Same. Anyway, when do you want to meet for the final draft review?
How about next Thursday morning? I'm free after 10, but 11 is also okay for me.
Thursday works. Let's meet at 10:30 a.m. in the main library study room.
Great. That gives us plenty of time to polish it.
You have half a minute to check your answer.
You will hear a speaker, Dr. Elena Grant, neuroscientist, about the science of sleep and its importance. First, look at question 31 to 33. Good afternoon, everyone. Today's lecture focuses on the science of sleep, a topic that affects every one of us, yet remains widely misunderstood. Let's start with the function of sleep. Though it might appear that nothing important happens while we're asleep, in fact, sleep is critical for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and physical restoration. Some theories, such as the energy conservation theory, argue that sleep evolved primarily to reduce caloric expenditure, but this is now considered a secondary benefit, not the main purpose. We typically divide sleep into two broad categories: REM sleep and non-REM sleep. Non-REM sleep occurs first and has 3 stages, with stage 3 being the deepest. REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement, is when most vivid dreams occur and is closely associated with brain activity that resembles wakefulness. Now, one of the most important discoveries in sleep science is the role of the circadian rhythm, our internal 24-hour biological clock. It's regulated by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny region in the brain's hypothalamus. Now listen carefully and complete the remaining question. This internal clock is sensitive to light and helps determine when we feel alert or drowsy. Interestingly, a common myth is that everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. In reality, sleep needs vary. While 8 hours may be ideal for some adults, others function well on 6.5 or require 9. Teenagers, for instance, actually need more sleep than adults but are biologically wired to fall asleep later, not earlier. The impact of sleep deprivation is often underestimated. Even a few nights of poor sleep can lead to reduced cognitive function, irritability, and increased risk of accidents. Chronic sleep loss has been linked to obesity, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's disease. A recent study showed that people who slept fewer than 6 hours a night were 30% more likely to develop high blood pressure. So, what can we do to improve sleep? First, maintaining a consistent sleep schedule helps align your circadian rhythm. Second, avoid stimulants like caffeine late in the day. Caffeine can remain in your system for up to 6 hours. Third, create a sleep-friendly environment. Cool, dark, and quiet bedrooms are ideal. Exposure to screens, like phones or TVs, just before bed is a well-known sleep disruptor, though some wrongly believe they help them wind down. Lastly, let me briefly touch on napping. While short naps, around 20 minutes, can improve alertness and performance, longer naps may lead to sleep inertia, that groggy feeling upon waking. Some cultures still embrace siestas, but for most people, prioritizing quality nighttime sleep is more effective.
You have half a minute to check your answer.